there, welcome back to the Winters Heritage House Museum. We're having a ton of fun putting these little videos together for you, so I hope you're enjoying them. We've already talked about eggs and we've talked about soap. So we're going to talk today about another thing you probably haven't thought too much about, and that's tea. The history and science of tea, which ties very nicely in with the history of this building and everything that we do here at the Heritage House. This building and this area of Pennsylvania was sort of settled by the Scots-Irish, people from Scotland and Ireland, as well as people from England and France, and a lot of that area of Europe came here. And with them they brought traditions, one of which was how to make a proper cup of tea. So I hope you do that for your mother for Mother's Day, and we have all sorts of instructions online for that. But here is what tea is. I mean, who thought about that? What is tea? Tea is a beverage made from plant leaves. Today, we often use a tea bag to make tea, but back in the colonial times, if you handed someone a tea bag, they wouldn't have recognized it. They didn't make their tea from tea bags. So what did they make their tea from? Well, as you can see in my kitchen, I have some plants drying. And if I wanted to make some tea, I would crunch up some of my dried plant material and put it in my teapot. Then I would have to add some hot water. This is from my hearth. Whoops, there's a mess. You'll notice that the tea leaves, of course, are going to float. And some of them might settle once they're wet enough. But look where my spout comes out of my teapot, right in the middle. So those tea leaves probably won't get into my tea. Plus I want to show you something in here. I forgot to do this. But there's a little strainer that pops up against the spout so that when I pour my tea, the leaves won't come out into my cup. And if they did, I think I could read my fortune. But here we go. All I did was put hot water in there with some tea leaves, and I've got a nice dark brown cup of tea. So what's happening inside that pot? You have to see how dark this water is. Hang on, I'm coming over. Can you see that? Look how dark that got. And that wasn't even steeped very long. I've already got something going on in there, but what is it? Why is my water turning brown? The leaves are still in here. What's going on? All right, so now we're going to get to the science part of what is going on inside the teapot. To represent water molecules, I have some glass beads here in this tray. And I know they look like drops of water, but this whole mess of molecules is actually maybe one drop of water. The drops of water are all made up of different water molecules, and when you have a whole cup of water, you have millions and millions and millions of water molecules. Water molecules are really tiny. So this is a drop of water, and if you add energy, and my hand is going to be the energy to the water, and the way you would do that to water is you make it hot. Heat is a form of energy, and when I put my energy into the water, it spreads it out, and it starts mixing up and bouncing around, and the energy makes it bump into all the other water molecules. Things get pretty busy down here. So let's say you have some water, and then you add some tea. Now the tea can also be a molecule. This is a tea molecule. This is a tea molecule from a tea plant. And this is water that's cold, and it's not moving a lot. I don't have a whole lot of energy in it, just a little bit here and there. But when I turn up the energy and heat it up, suddenly everything goes crazy! And the energy mixes the water and the tea molecules. Next thing you know, they're a nice blend. So much for having a nice neat package. But the energy's done that. The energy made them mix. That's called an infusion of molecules. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, that got a little crazy. We're going to see how that looks in real life now. Obviously, molecules are too tiny for us to really look at. But here's what's happening inside the teapot when you're making tea. It's a reaction called infusion, remember that. The teapot's really hard to see through. Most of them are that way. So we have glass jars, and we're going to brew tea in the jars so that you can see how the hot water makes the reaction occur. I have some colonial style tea, and I'll put the same amount in each jar. Okay. And what we want to watch for is that infusion reaction. Their tea is actually leaves, and of course the leaves are made up of molecules, but the little bits and pieces are just crumpled up leaves. Sometimes tea is made by plants that have medicine in them. Not only can you make a nice tasting beverage, but if there's a medicine in the plant, the water will bring the medicine out, and then you can drink it as medicine. That's another good use for tea. So in this jar, I'm putting cold water. This water has very low energy to it. The molecules really aren't bouncing around all that much. Now it might look at first like it's mixing with the tea, but that's just because the water stirred up the tea leaves. You can see that the tea and the water are kind of separate still in there, and once it settles down a little bit, you know, it's just going to be water with tea pits floating around inside it. In this jar, I'm going to put hot water, and you'll see what I mean here. The hot water, remember, has the energy in it, and that's making all the molecules of the tea and the water race around like crazy and crash into each other. This jar is like a party going on. Those molecules are rocking. These molecules are just chilling, hanging out. We got our tea leaves floating around in our water. But over here, everybody's getting together. Look at the different colors. The longer this sits, that's called steeping, the stronger and darker the color will be, and the stronger the tea will taste. There'll be more and more infusion going on, so there'll be more flavor going into the water, or more medicine coming out of those tea leaves and working into the water. So this is more like tea. This eventually might get a little bit of infusion going on, but without any energy in there to make it really happen, it's going to take a lot longer. So, there you go. The history and science of tea. I sure hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to strain this out and make myself a nice cup of tea. Thanks for hanging out with us.